Hello, dear students. In this very casual discussion with our students of American literature, we are going to discuss about a very important play that is Crucible by Arthur Miller. Here I have the textbook of this play in my hand. You can see I have many papers after the textbook where it ends. I had added up, actually binded few more pages with that just to note down few things. Although this habit is really missing in our society, we no more take notes when we are reading book. We don't save information in the form of short notes, whether on the text of the book or at few other pages. But problem with me was always to really learn something new in my life and to take account of that and actually to take notes from that. So actually, as you know that when students come to me and they say that they have problem, many students of American literature, I heard them talking in the university that it's hard to understand Crucible play, and we are getting so much confused about the story of the play Crucible that we actually want to study. There are two important aspects of this play that a student of American literature must go through them. These, without understanding these two historical events and you can say the backgrounds behind the themes of Crucible play or the historical events that the play Crucible is driven from, if you don't understand these two things, it's very hard to understand the themes, characters, and even the plot or story of the play as well. So the problem for when students get stuck with this type of pieces of literature like the play Crucible or a Shakespearean play or Ode to the West Wind, Shelley's poem, or some of the poetry of John Keats or the essays of Francis Bacon, the classical text. When students they find it hard, is the problem they don't know the tools how to understand a classical piece of text. People are no more trained about how to understand the heavy or rich pieces of text, whether it be in the form of prose or poetry or novel or any form of literature. People actually don't put effort. In love and knowledge, it requires endless, untiring efforts, struggles, sacrifices. You have to sacrifice your wealth, your earning, your family life, your personal life, your friends and social circles. You have to sacrifice a lot for the sake of real learning and understanding the classical pieces of text and books. So, first of all, make up your mind. If you want to continue your journey of knowledge and learning, you must make up your mind that you will put a lot of efforts, you will make a lot of sacrifices to learn the true knowledge and wisdom. In this beautiful play Crucible, there are many important themes, and actually there is the whole background why Arthur Miller wrote this play. You will find this content on various sources that the time period when he was actually writing the play, there is actually a historical event behind that. The two concepts that you must understand, the one is McCarthyism and the other is Salem witch trial. These two things you must study if you want to fully understand the Crucible play. The first thing, that McCarthyism. There was, here I have written few notes, Joseph McCarthy, an American senator between the years 1947 to 1957. Between these years, he was a senator, Joseph McCarthy. The term McCarthyism is derived from because of the name of that American senator. Actually, what he did, he was a US senator in those years of Cold War between USA and USSR, between America and Russia and those partners. And as you know, the whole background of after the Second World War, when it ends, the world went into the Cold War, and they fought against the communist Chinese and the North Korea forces. On the one side, there were the USA and its allies. So the war was between USA and the theories of communism actually. So during his time period, Joseph McCarthy they suspected the few people who were actually hired in the many government employed in the state departments and in the film industry, and they might be in the USA industry and politics and economics. So, and they were in the form of spies. According to the government, there were spies, the hidden people who had the ideas, who had links with communist people, the communism ideas and beliefs. So they wanted just to put trials on them. They sent many people to jails on the name of the false allegation of that they people belong to communism or communist parties, or maybe might be they be supporting the communist ideas, being in American state, at offices, at film industry. So many of the playwrights, the writers of that time, were also sent to jails. They were put to trials. They were arrested, that in the name of communism. So the communism was a symbol of enemy for Americans. They were against communism, and the Cold War, as you know, the Americans fought against. And the communism was seen as something anti-America. So all the people who might had any link, a hidden link with communism, Joseph McCarthy arrested them, put them into trials. So Joseph McCarthy is very much famous for that. Now, this sensitive issue, like in our countries, people say that this person has spoken against Constitution, he has spoken against our armed forces, he had spoken against the integrity, he is a patriot. He's not actually patriot, they say he's a traitor. So in the name of being a traitor or committing a blasphemic act in the name of the enemy of the nation and its ideology, he has his name spokes soft about the enemy. And the names of these sensitive issues, people take personal revenge. So whenever you are using false allegations, false accusations against your enemies, you want to take personal revenge, and you say, oh, I have seen him committing a blasphemic act or blasphemic words he has uttered. Behind the scene, you are taking the personal revenge. So these type of slogans and claims, when you use for the personal revenge, that we called McCarthyism, because of Joseph McCarthy, who was an American senator. So this is the basic phenomena. And at the time of Arthur Miller, some say that Arthur Miller were also accused of that, and from his colleagues and the people working in the drama and these film industries, and directors, producers were also arrested, and false allegations were put against them. Like we have in our society, it's very common to put allegations against journalists, against teachers for spreading false ideologies. They are banned, their TV programs are banned. In Pakistan, you have recent many examples when our journalists or anchor persons are being banned and are being killed on the name of the patriotism, and they are putting allegations upon them that they are talking against the state. So the names of God, the names of prophets, the name of religion, or in the name of state, people use these slogans as sacred words, and they say, oh, the people are talking against God, they have committed blasphemy, they have committed something against the state. These teachers are spreading the ideologies against the system, they are talking against the establishment, our institutions, they are violating the laws. Same thing happens in judiciary. When judges, they say, oh, you are making contempt of court, I will send you to jail. So we have made these things so sacred, and in the name of their sacredness, we put innocent people into trials and jails and tribulations. So people on behind the screen, people are taking personal revenge, but they are using these sacred slogans, and they're saying why you are talking against them, and they put them into jails. There might be religious extremists, there might be political extremists, there might be the government agencies using these sacred slogans against the innocent people. So this is the whole theme, this is the whole situation that Arthur Miller, the writer of the play Crucible, himself actually suffered through these types of trials. So there were many allegations against Arthur Miller as well. He had many troubles to face when he wrote this very sensitive topic in his play. But he did not talk directly about the communism, about what was going on in the United States of America, but he adopted the frame of an ancient story, not too ancient. It was in 16th century, 1600 something, when actual event of Salem witch trial it happened in the state of Massachusetts, in the colonized America. At that time, America was not free. Like you see, Abraham Lincoln and the entry of Abraham Lincoln and the whole revolution came later on. In 1860, I think, Abraham Lincoln was elected the President of the United States of America. And before that, there was the conflict between northern and southern states of America that we call American Civil War. At the end of American Civil War comes Abraham Lincoln in 1860. But at the time of Salem witch trial, America was not independent United States of America like we have it today. It was colonized America, colonized by the European empires. So at that time, when actually it was in Massachusetts state, that is a state in the United States of America, in that there is a town called Salem. So in that town there were many court trials, many hangings, many severe punishment given to the people who were accused of being engaged into the practices of witchcraft, using magic, using witch, calling and invoking, provoking evil spirits for their negative purposes. But when these trials were conducted, people still argue that these trials actually killed innocent people. Many people who wanted to take personal revenge in Salem, they accused their enemies of being engaged into witchcraft, in the art of witch and the evil spirits. So they were hanged out. Many innocent people were hanged out. And even the character Giles Corey, who is also a character of the Crucible play, was the real character in Salem witch trials in 17th century. And he was pressed to death by stone. He was pressed by heavy stones till he died. That was a severe punishment on the old Giles Corey, because he refused to be a part of the trials. And that is the very interesting thing even today about the court trials, when lawyers do maneuver and they draw out their desired results at the end by just the art and the skill that they have. That's why Giles Corey in the Crucible play, here in my hands there is a text of the play, and actually Giles Corey speaks this thing in the court, and he says, I never hired any lawyer in my life. And here are the words, like what Giles Corey say. Let's read the beautiful lines from the text. The discussion between actually Hathorne, the judges of that time, and between the Giles Corey. So Hathorne says, what lawyer drew this, Corey? And Giles Corey say, you know, I never hired a lawyer in my life, Hathorne. Danforth, it is very well phrased. My compliments, Mr. Paris. If Mr. Putnam is in the court, will you bring him in? And then Mr. Putnam also brings him. So Giles say, I am never put upon. I know my rights, sir, and I will have them. You know, your father tried a case of mine. There are other words as well. When Giles say, I will not give you no name. I mentioned my wife's name once, and I will burn in hell long enough for that. I stand mute. He says, I will give no words. Because before that in trials, I gave the name of my wife, and you made everything bad with them. And Giles Corey also say, my proof is there, pointing to the paper. If Jacobs hangs for a witch, he forfeit up his property, that's law. And there is none but Putnam with the coin to buy so great a piece. This man is killing his neighbors for their land. So emotional words. Again, Giles Corey say, why I cannot give you his name. I cannot give you the name. Giles Corey refused to take part in any court processions and court proceedings. This is very great thing. Many innocent people, many true people, they say it's useless to appear in the court. Even in our country, people have no hope of justice from these courts. That is a whole play of power. Lawyers know how to play tricks with the people. They say, oh, had you seen this person? Now the accused person has no choice of using more than few words, yes or no. Their turn takings are also limited. As we study under critical discourse analysis, these things, the critical discourse analysis of the court proceedings, that is very interesting things actually to be discussed. So Giles Corey actually talks against the court, and we know that in this play as well, Giles Corey is also pressed heavily by stones to death. So actually there are so many things to talk about this. There are many interesting things, and John Proctor, the hero of this play, also talks negatively about the religious authorities. He say, I see no light of God in that man. When he is accused that why your children are not baptized, you don't take your children to church, he says, I see no light of God in that man. Man here mean the Reverend Paris actually, who is a representative of clergy of church, who is a church minister as well. And when Proctor says that it does, sir, it does, and it tells me that a minister may pray to God without to have golden candlesticks upon the altar. Like in Iqbal poetry they say, हमको तो मयस्सर नहीं मट्टी का दिया भी, घर पीर का बिजली के चरागों से है रोशन. Very interesting thing. शहरी हो देहाती हो मुसलमान है सादा, मानिंदे बुता पूजते हैं काबे के बरहमन. मीरास में आई है इन्हें मसनद इरशाद, जागों के तसर्रुफ में उकाबों का नशेमन. Well, Iqbal points out actually, and the same John Proctor says that they are just the higher, they have taken the seat of the churches. They are not an eligible person to seek in that. Even at the utmost extreme situation, John Proctor says, I say God is dead. We will say there is no, actually religion is not in practice here. These people, for the sake of their personal revenge, they are making lame excuses and putting false allegations and accusations of witchcraft upon the innocent people. And the whole thing actually also happened during the real Salem witch trials in 17th century. So read two things, McCarthyism and Salem witch trial. The whole story of this play Crucible comes from the actual trials of Salem witch trials, and why the writer is using that story to present the idea well of McCarthyism, because he lived through the age in America. And in American history, the real things actually happen on the name of communism. But instead of directly criticizing the idea of communism and what happened in American through the American agencies and senators by Joseph McCarthy, the writer, instead of using the story directly, he used the frame of his story. Although the play is written in 20th century, but he has used and utilized the frame of the story from 17th century, the story of Salem witch trials. Those were also the same types of trials. There is a very beautiful sentence, I think, uttered by the John Proctor. I have gone through the text of this play many times. I read it as a student also, and I have been teaching it to university students. I always used to teach the textbook. Without reading the text of this play, there is no use of this play. So the John Proctor says that what is actually walking on Salem? I would say vengeance is hunting Salem. Vengeance is walking in Salem. People are taking their personal revenge on the name of witchcraft and other things. And one interesting thing, another thing that John Proctor, the argument that he makes in the court is so blunt, he is so bold, he speaks so truly in front of judges and judiciary inside the courtroom. He has no fear of losing his case. So If you study and examine and actually analyze the character of John Proctor deeply, you will find many extraordinary things. So he says, little crazy children are jangling the keys of kingdom. Beautiful line. Little crazy children are jangling the keys of kingdom. So the people who are not eligible, incapable people have controlled the whole state and church as well. So they're not the true people. The ignorant people, the incapable people are controlling the whole state. The cry of John Proctor in the court is the cry of every individual in his human society who is bound to many social norms and traditions in the name of tradition and value, and the individual talent is being dimmed, is being put into the background, and the whole society and traditions and sacred slogans are being imposed upon the innocent people, and many innocent people are being slaughtered on the names of these sacred words heavy words that we use. Like we say, don't speak against the constitution. We say you are talking against the state. We use the slogans like you are making contempt of court. When a person speaks truly, when he speaks his own heart, like Giles Corey, who say, I would rather like to embrace death than to be a part of the proceedings of the court. In the same way, John Proctor tries so truly. And there is beautiful criticism on what lawyers do in the court even. He says, when he says, I don't even know what witch is, and the lawyer says, if you don't know what is a witch, so then how you can say that you are not a witch if you don't know that what witch is? Just through the critical reasoning and arguments the lawyers make. And so there was a beautiful criticism on the lawyers, on the judiciary, on the religious clergy, on the politics of that time. So Arthur Miller has really put a great contribution in the history of American drama. He has really brought serious subjects into the consideration in the history of American drama. So he has enriched the American drama with those high themes of tragedy of Greeks and classics. You cannot go through well in American drama without reading Crucible. Reading classics is still relevant. I am always telling you. Now, my dear students, be hard upon yourself. I am not making a video lecture for the whole page of text. I know many few of you would like to read the text, but those few are real human beings who can go through the text in details. Otherwise, you are just wasting your time reading the summary, preparing the characters, and going for the exams at universities. My sincere advice to you, you should leave universities. Just build up your business empires, earn money, live a good family life. Only those people should be here at universities and academia who want to go through the real textbooks, who want to understand it. And it doesn't come without effort. My teacher, he used to make a beautiful argument. He used to say, the thing that people had achieved through hard work, why do you want to achieve that with merely the power of desire? You cannot be given something because you desire for it. You must make efforts. You must burn the midnight oil. You must spend your nights and days in and days out, sacrificing your other things for the sake of your studies. And we are going to have a great crisis in the coming years of learning, of books, of knowledge. But people who have the real taste of study are still there, who are working through the books. So if you want to go through in the details of the textbook, so at the quest of people, I would like to make the video of the whole textbook as well in the future, maybe. So concluding this very short discussion, I would say just read McCarthyism and the story of Salem witch trial to fully understand the characters and the whole story of the play Crucible. Thank you.